Since Victory Road is coming up this Sunday, I'm going to review TNA Victory Road 2004, which is the first TNA pay-per-view I saw and the first major 3-hour pay-per-view of TNA. The first match of the night was a 30-man gauntlet match for the World X Cup. Hector Garza won the match, last eliminating Kazarian. This was a good match to start the show, but nothing special, other than a Tower of Doom, but I did get to see a lot of my favorite wrestlers. The next match of the night was an 8-man tag team match between the Naturals, Chase Stevens, and Andy Douglas, Lance Hoyt, and Kid Cash versus Eric Watts, Johnny B. Bad, Pat Kenny, and Ron the True Killings. This was an awesome back and forth match between both teams. Memorable moments were Lance Hoyt, a 300-pound man, doing a moonsault onto Eric Watts choke slamming a 300-pound Lance Hoyt, and Lance Hoyt doing a side slam on Watts. The match ended when Johnny B. Bad went for his bad move, the Hurricanrana, off the top rope onto one of the Naturals, and Ron the Truth Killings pinned one of the Naturals with a suplex into Facebuster for the win. The first segment of the night featured the re-debut of Scott Hall. Hall came out and talked about his history with TNA, how he was on the first show, and that he will be in the main event in Jeff Jarrett's corner, and that Nash would not be there. This segment was awesome and one of the most memorable segments on this show. The next match of the night was a tag team title match between BG James and Conan, the 3 Live Crew, and Team Canada Team Canada, Bobby Roode and Eric Young with Scott D'Amore. This was an awesome back and forth match between both teams. This was an awesome match, good back and forth action between both teams. Road Dogg hit some of his awesome moves, such as the snake rattle and roll combo and the pump handle slam. The match ends when Conan hits the facebuster on Eric Young for the win, thus becoming the tag team champions. The next match of the night was a women's open challenge match issued by Trinity, and accepting the challenge was the returning Jacqueline. This was a pretty good women's match. Trinity wins the match with distractions from Swinger and Gilberti. The next match of the night was one of my favorites, the 3-way Monster Ball match between the alpha male Monty Brown, Raven, and the Monster Abyss. I like how the wrestlers were kayfabe locked up in a room with no food or water before the match. This was an awesome match. Memorable moments include Raven's punch combo on Abyss, and he drops him with a super kick. Monty Brown picking up the 350-pound Abyss over his shoulders and slamming him, and Raven powerbombing Abyss onto some thumbtacks. The match ended in climactic fashion when Monty Brown pounces Raven into the table for the win. The first match of the Victory Road's triple main event was another one of my favorite matches, and that was the phenomenal AJ Styles versus the Canadian Destroyer Petey Williams for the X Division Championships. This was an awesome match. Both men hit a lot of cool moves. AJ Styles was more of a high flyer, hitting lots of flying enziguris, drop kicks, and a flying senton over the ropes. Petey Williams was just like that, only more of a technical wrestler, doing moves such as the sharpshooter, the Hurricanrana, the Russian leg sweep, and the springboard leg drop. Petey Williams wins the match with a super Canadian Destroyer off the top rope, thus retaining his title. AJ Styles attacks Scott D'Amore after the match for interfering in his match and causing him the titles. Then bails when Team Canada comes in. The second match of the Victory Road triple main event was Triple X, the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels, Primetime Elix Skipper versus America's Most Wanted Wildcat Chris Harris and the Cowboy James Storm in an elimination last team standing match. This was an awesome match between both teams. I'm a huge fan of both. America's Most Wanted controlled most of the match. The match ends when Chris Harris gives Elix Skipper a catatonic on the chair, and Elix Skipper fails to respond to the 10 count. Thus, America's Most Wanted wins the match. After the match, Christopher Daniels and Elix Skipper, Triple X attacks them and handcuffs them handcuffs them and beats them with chairs. Heavy D and Ron Harris come out and break this up. The main event was between Jeff Hardy and Jeff Jarrett in a ladder match for the NWA Heavyweight Championship. Another awesome match. The match ends when Kevin Nash and Scott Hall come out and hit Jeff Hardy with guitars as he's climbing the ladder, and Jeff Jarrett hits him with a third guitar shot, knocking him off the ladder and allowing Jeff Jarrett to retrieve the belt and win the match, thus retaining his NWA Heavyweight Championship. After the match, Kevin Nash dubs himself, Hall, and Jarrett the Kings of Wrestling, and that they're taking over, and they throw out an open challenge to anybody on the TNA roster. AJ Styles was the first to come out, then the three live crew, and AJ Styles takes out each member with a springboard body press and is cleaning house, but the numbers game gets to him, and then Jarrett, Hall, and Nash decimate the rest of the TNA locker room. Then the show ends when Macho Man comes out and the show goes off. This was an awesome show for TNA's first 3-hour pay-per-view. This show had memorable moments, awesome matches, and legendary wrestlers such as Rowdy Piper, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, Dusty Rhodes, The Outsiders, Road Dogg, Johnny B. Bad, and Macho Man. And in my opinion, this is what a major pay-per-view should look like. All right, I'm done. Doug 8798 out.